Right, this is 5.4, using models to subtract fractions. I've drawn a model here. It has two fractions drawn, and we're going to subtract. So this is different than adding in lots of ways. There are some similarities. So right here, I've drawn these fractions. The first one, if we look at it, to draw a fraction, the shaded area is this pink shaded area. How many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's of this whole thing, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. So this is 5/6. That's what this fraction is. And we are supposed to subtract from it 1 of these pieces, which if we look at how many pink pieces there are, there's one pink piece. And we're supposed to subtract 1. How many are there in this piece? 1, 2, 3. There's 3. So this question is asking us, what is 5/6 subtract 1/3? Now we're looking at this and we're realizing that this 1/3 right here is the same as 2/6, right? So if we subtract, we get rid of that amount from this, we're left with this amount right here, which would be 3/6, right? We'd be left with 3/6. So the answer to this would be 3/6, but I'm going to write it a little lower because I'm going to show this intermediate step, the part between. It would be 3/6, which, if we realize, that would mean there's these 3 that are part of it, and then this one and these ones are not. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Half of them are not, so this would be 1/2. That would be our final answer for this one. Now, I skipped a little step here that I want to draw in. We remember that we can use equivalent fractions that have use fractions that have a common denominator. So we're going to leave this 5/6 here, and we're going to change this other fraction so that it has the same common denominator. They're both 6. So to turn a 1/3 into a 6, what we do is break this up so that there's more pieces here, and we'd have 1, 2 pieces out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would be 2. And then all we're doing is taking this top part here that I'm going to highlight. We're going to take this, this part up here, I'll highlight it, 5 subtract 2, and that's what our numerator is. 5 subtract 2 was 3, so that's why we put that 3 right here in the numerator. And then you just keep the common denominator. So we could write a rule here, and the rule goes as so: when you are subtracting fractions with a common denominator, so this is common, 6 and 6, you will subtract the numerators. Okay, so we'll subtract the numerators, 5 subtract 2, and whatever that is will be your numerator. And then you're going to keep the denominator. Whatever denominator was that common denominator, that will be your denominator. So we'll end up with 5 subtract 2 is 3, and 6 will stay as the denominator. Then we had to reduce, which we remember 3 divided by 3, 6 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Here's another question. You can actually use some fraction strips here. We've got a fraction strip here to do subtraction questions. How this works is the number that would start your subtraction would actually be whatever this point is, this rightmost point right here. That would actually be your first number on here in your equation. So we need to figure out what this one actually is. Now looking at this number line, we've got 0 and we've got 1. And there's 1, 2, 3 gaps, which would mean that this is broken up into thirds. That would make this spot here 1/3, this spot 2/3. Remember, the denominator would be how many pieces there are here, and the numerator is how many pieces we're talking about. And this would be 3/3, right, which is equal to 1. Now, we have this spot right here on the right side that is a little bigger than 2/3. And that spot is going to be the first fraction in our subtraction statement. what's being subtracted is going to be this here, this 1/3 block. So what we need to do is figure out what this spot actually is. And that spot is going to be one of these jumps, whatever these small jumps are away. Now looking at one of these 1/3, there's 1, 2, 3 jumps here, which means that these are thirds of thirds. Okay? So if we look at this 1/3 and we break it up into 3 pieces, we're going to get ninths. We're going to get this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jumps to get to 1. So this line has been broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots. So this here in ninths would be 1, 2, 3. This would be 3/9. This one here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be 6/9. Okay, and this last one would be 9/9. Now what I'm writing down here are all equivalent fractions to each other. The ones that are on the same line, 1/3 and 3/9 are the same, which are different to 2/3 and 6/9, which these ones are the same, and then 1, 3/3, and 9/9 are all the same. Now here, this one that we're talking about that we're going to use in our subtraction equation is 1 more than 6/9. It's 1 more ninth more, so that will be 7/9. And it's going to be subtracting this fraction strip, which is 1/3. And our answer, it's actually going to be right where this one ends. So we start here, we're going to subtract 1/3, and whatever this spot is going to be our answer. Okay, so this strip is here. This spot, the right spot, is the first one, and whatever this is our answer, which happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4/9. So our answer is 4/9. So that's how we use these fraction strips to figure this out. You're going to need to be able to recognize fraction strips and then just be able to count along a number line, and that's how you're going to need to do it.